Hey guys, today I thought I would tell you about the last 8 books that I read. So usually I take the last 10 books that I read and I tell you guys a quick summary and a review. However, I've read more than 10. So today I'm going to be telling you about 8 books that I've read. Some of these though I read a while ago. I don't have the best memory, but I will try to give a summary and a review. As always, if you have any book recommendations or if you've read any of these and have anything to say, please comment it down below. I want to have discussions. This is like a book club. So the first book is The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell, which is one of my favorite authors. So I really loved the concept of this garden. This book takes place in London in this little community that has a garden and everyone kind of plays with each other, everyone's friends. And Lisa Jewell's novels are usually from the perspective of a couple of different people. So basically something bad happens to this little girl. You kind of piece together what happens throughout different perspectives, different kids' accounts on things, different memories. It definitely was a book that I couldn't put down. For Lisa Jewell books, it wasn't one of her best, but it was definitely good. The next book is The Favorite Daughter by Kiera Ruda. So the very first thing that I remember about this book is that the main character that tells the story, so absolutely infuriating. I just wanted to flick her. It was so annoying reading this from her perspective. Most annoying character ever. So this book follows the woman whose daughter died. So basically the mom starts receiving notes saying that it wasn't an accident and that she should look more into things. So she does, but things get really weird and it definitely did not end how expected. So it was worth the read, but yeah, the main character was a story in itself. The next book is The Perfect Girlfriend by Karen Hamilton. This book is so good, so well put together. One of those books where so many things are so thought out. I could not put this down. So I really don't want to give a lot of this book away, but basically this girl's boyfriend breaks up with her and she thinks that she's the perfect girlfriend. They're perfect together. She needs to be with him. So she formulates this big plan, and at first things seem normal, but then things get really weird. Like I've said, I update my boyfriend in books as I go, and I kept being oh my god, you'll never believe. And then I just keep reading and then be oh my god, you'll never believe. The next book is Before I Met You by Lisa Jewell. This is probably my favorite book in the world now. So basically this girl moves in with her stepdad's mom, so her step grandma, and she ends up taking care of her, builds a really strong bond with her, and then she passes away. This woman in her will leaves most of her stuff to this person that none of them know. So this girl sets out to figure out who this person is because their grandmother Arlette, they love them and they know that they really want this person to get the money, so they move to Soho and try and find this person. And then it's Lisa Jewell, so it also takes place from another perspective, but it takes place from the perspective of her grandmother in the 1920s. As we're learning Arlette's story in the 1920s, we're reading the perspective also of the granddaughter, and she's also kind of catching up to things, and it's so beautiful. The most amazing characters. I literally was sad for days after I finished this book. Please read this book. The next book is called The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, and I actually read another book. It will be in the next book club video because I don't have space, but I just finished a book that was very similar to this. But I do remember this was very good. Loved the vibes. Well, there's this group of friends and then there's significant others. They take this trip to this remote place in Scotland and they end up getting snowed in. At the beginning of the book you find out that one of them ends up dead and you don't find out which one. So as it goes on you slowly figure out who it is, and then you slowly find out what happens. I also remember, since it's literally called The Hunting Party, and it was describing in detail their hunting trips, so that was disgusting. Okay, the next book is I Let You Go by Claire Mackintosh. This one was really good. This was another one that I got one of those attachments and I was really sad after finishing it because I liked the main character and I liked the place it was set in. However, there was I don't know if it was supposed to be a plot twist, but it sure was for me. I don't know if I'm just dumb. Things were confused. Anyway, it follows this woman and she is running and she like runs to a different city, lays low. Anyway, I really liked this book, so I read another one by this author and it will be in the next video. The next book is Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell. This one was really good. This is one of her most recent, maybe her most recent one, I think. So this book follows like a bunch of characters again, as it is a Lisa Jewell. It basically follows this man, Owen. He calls himself an involuntary celibate and he lives across the street from this other family that it also follows. Meanwhile, this girl goes missing and they think that this Owen guy did it, and it was really interesting because even though it was from his perspective, you can't tell like if he's involved or not. I did not get a solid ending that I wanted though. Like, it kind of left some loose threads, which I feel like that's been happening recently in novels that I'm like not a fan of. And then the last book is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ning. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. So this book was so good. If I could describe this book in one word, it would be chaotic. But I loved every second of it. So the book opens up with this family's house on fire and one of the kids is nowhere to be found, but they assume that that kid is the one that started the fire. So things are already so chaotic, and then it just goes like way back in time before the fire. Basically, it's about this big family who's like pretty well off, and then this woman and her I'm almost done, baby. And then it also follows this other woman and her daughter, and they are constantly moving around. The mother is an artist and she's like, I love her. So they move to this new city and this big family like rents their other property to this family, and then the girl becomes friends with this other family and the mom eventually becomes like their cleaning lady and cooks them dinner and stuff. They kind of live like two separate lives, but the mom and the daughter kind of start to integrate themselves into the other lifestyle, and it's really interesting because you're like trying to figure out how this ends up in the fire. It was very chaotic. So many times I was left like, okay, what just happened? But I loved it, and I'm really excited to read other things by this author. Let's say hi. Usually his litter box is right where I'm sitting, so he's so confused. Anyway, there are 8 of the last books that I read. Please let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought. Also, give me recommendations and check out the playlist down below for all my other book videos. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!